Okay, so today I'm going to teach you about adverb. What is adverb? Adverb is talk about something that describe the verb and describe an adjective. So adverb is very important and adverb is very common used in English language. So adverb is very important. So we try to understand and we learn it a lot because it can modify the verb and modify the adjective. So it is important when you're going to read some text. You try to understand because in the text they will use a lot of adverbs in there. Okay, go to lesson 2. Lesson 2, adverb. Lesson 2, adverb. 1. What is an adverb? What is an adverb? What is an adverb? Adverb is modify verb and adjective, and sometimes it also describes adverb and other adverbs. Okay, let's start. Number 1. Modify. 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 Modify verb. And 2. Modifies adjective. 3. And last one, it's also modify. It also modifies another adverb. Another adverb. We talk about modify other adverbs. Okay. Adverb can modify verb, can modify adjective, can modify other adverbs. So this we talk about the adverb, the function of adverb. So let me start to do example for you. Example. Okay, modify verb. We talk about modify verb. Modify verb. Number 1. Modify verb. Modify a verb. Okay. Look an example for you. She sings loudly. He sings loudly. He sings loudly. He sings loudly. He sings loudly. So this is we talk about adverb, describer. This is he sings loudly. So loudly is adverb, describer. Verb is sing. So adverb, describer, describe. And you try to distinguish or identify. He sings loudly. Loudly is adverb, so describer, sing. And why? Because we try to understand and we try to translate it. He sing what? He sing quiet, or he sing quickly, or he sing loudly. Yes, loudly is adverb. Okay, next example. Can't speak English quickly. Can't speak English quickly. It is a sentence. Can't speak English quickly. So speak is a verb. Quickly it's an adverb. So commonly they can use the adverb in the end of the sentence, but sometimes in the front or in the middle. Yeah. So quickly is going to speaks. Why? Because he speaks loud, or he speaks English and quiet, he speaks English well. So this is we talk about adverb, this adverb. Okay, next one. We walk to Langsam Park slowly. We walked to Langsam Park. Okay, in this sentence, we walk to Langsam Park slowly. Okay, walk is a verb. Langsam, slowly. Slowly is adverb to describe verb. So we talk about slowly. Describe verb. Why we walk to Langsam Park slowly? We walk. How we walk? We walk slowly or we walk quickly. Yeah, this is we talk about adverb. Describe verb. Okay, I'd like you to read one more again. Adverb describe a verb. Look at sample. 3 examples for you. He sings loudly. He sings loudly. Can't speak English quickly. Can't speak English quickly. 3. Langsam Park slowly. Okay, continue. Okay, so we continue. This is we talk about adverb describe adjective. How different the verb. Okay, let's look example. This is example for you. Mr. Jack, very tall. Mr. Jack is very tall. Okay. In this sentence, which one is the adjective? This is adjective. Tall. Adjective, we talk about the long, short, beautiful, and another thing. Example. This is one. Mr. Jack is very tall. Very, it's ever. Ever describe tall. Ever describe adjective. Adjective is tall. So this is sentence you look at and identify. Mr. Jack is very tall. Very is ever. It talk about it modify the clear meaning of the adjective. So this is sentence. Jack very tall. Yeah, it's not tall, but quite tall, very tall. Yeah. Next one. The next example. She is quite pretty. She is quite pretty. She's quite pretty. So quite is adverb, pretty is adjective, so adverb describe adjective. So this is sentence. You look and identify. She is quite pretty. Pretty is adjective. Quite adverb describe pretty. Why? Because she is pretty. Also, we know that she's pretty, but we also use quite to describe or to tell more and clear about the pretty. Okay. Next one. Next example. This book is more interesting than the last one. This book is more interesting than the last one. Okay, in this sentence, you identify and you look which one you think ever. This book is more interesting than the last one. This book is more interesting than the last one. So this is sentence. More is ever. Ever describe what? Ever describe adjective. So adjective is interesting. We talk about ever describe adjective. More describe interesting. So in this sentence, we know that this book is more interesting than the last one. So we have two things to compare. Also we have two books to compare. And this book is more interesting than the last one. Okay, the last one is the book before we look at this book. Okay. Okay, I'd like you to read one more again. Mr. Jane is very tall. She is quite pretty. She is quite pretty. This book is more interesting than the last one. This book is more interesting than the last one. Okay. Okay. This we talk about adverb describes another adverbs. Adverb describe adverbs. Okay. So we're going to look example for you. Example 1. They run very fast. They run very fast. Okay. In this sentence, what do you think? Which one is adverb? Describe adverb. Very. Very is adverb. Describe fast. Adverb describe adverbs. This is one we look at the sentence. They run. How they run? They run very fast. This is we talk. They run very quickly. Okay. Example 2. John speaks English very well. John speak. Okay. John speaks loud very well. John speaks loud very well. John speaks loud very well. This is we talk about John speak very well. But we use the ever, describe ever. So very also ever. Describe very well also ever. This is we talk ever describe ever. Very describe well to more clear and more information that will very clear for understanding. So this is sentence. We look at John speaks loud very well. So how John speak loud? John speak loud very well. Is John very good student? Or John very hard to learn loud language? Okay, next example. He sings rather enormously too loudly. He sings rather enormously too loudly. In this sentence, you identify which one ever describe ever. He sings rather enormously too loudly. So there are many adverbs in this sentence. They also can describe many adverbs in together. This is example. This one, too and loudly and enormously and rather. There are four words can be adverbs, but they can use in the sentence. So this is we emphasizes the too and loudly. So he sings too loudly. So this is mean very loud to this one. So in this sentence, too is ever. Loudly also ever, but ever describe ever. Okay, I think this lesson is very important for you. You have to learn more because this have to guide you to understand some information. But I hope you will have the opportunity to study more, understand more about Arabic. Okay, thank you.